Here are the front forks for a Honda CT110. And as you can see, the seals are leaking. This one looks to be a lot worse than the other one. This is the right-hand side fork. And you can tell them apart by this little part here slides into the brake panel. So you still have oil in them. That's why I left that nut in the top there. And just for the heck of it, what I'm going to do is pour the oil out, and I want to see how much actually got lost. And this glass here, I have a red mark at 140 milliliters. That's how much oil is in these forks when they're filled up. So I'm going to pour the oil in, and we'll see how high it goes. We're ready to start disassembling them now, and I cleaned them up a little bit because they were really dirty to handle, even with my white painter's gloves on. And the manual recommends that you do it one at a time in case you forget what order the parts are in. Then you can refer to the other one. And there's also diagrams that you can find on the internet. And before I reassemble it, I'll lay them all out too, so you can see what order they go in. And the first thing we'll do, I'm going to do this one here. This was the dirtier one before. And the first thing you do is you pull this boot off. It comes right off the top. Okay. And then down in here, there's a snap ring, an interior snap ring. And we'll need to get that off. But first, it's all full of crud in there. We'll have to clean the crud off so we can find the little ends of the snap ring. And we'll need a snap ring pliers to get it off. Okay, I got this snap ring loose, and it was a booger. It was really in there. The snap ring pliers kept slipping out of these holes, and I shot some WD-40 in there and carburetor cleaner and got it cleaned up and kept trying, and all of a sudden it just came out. And it said there's a flat spot, it goes on the top. And if there's a tapered side, it goes on the bottom. But this looks uniform to me. Okay. And I guess there's a few ways to get the oil seal out. This is the oil seal here now. But one of the ways they recommended was just to pop it out. It said maybe a little messy. And it was. There we go. This fork is ready for reassembly now, and I want to show all the parts in the order they go in first. This bottom tube here, there's three parts here. There's a tube here, and there's this drain plug here, bolt, and there's a copper washer underneath it. Okay, and this other tube here I didn't completely take apart, but there's two circlips here. There's one here and one here. They're the same. And there's this collar, spacer, whatever it is. And then there's another circlip down the bottom that's different. Okay. Okay. Other than that, this will go on here, and then this part will go on here. This is probably the only part that a person can really mix up, because everything else pretty much goes one way. Oh, the spring. The tight end of the spring goes up. Okay, so this would go on here, this way. This is the part that actually banged out the seal. This is the old seal here, and I can't really tell. We're looking at what's wrong with it, but maybe it doesn't take much for them to leak. Here's a new one I'll be putting in. So seal will go in. This part goes in first. The part that has a little spring inside it. Snap ring. And then this goes on to that bolt. And then this here, this in the diagrams, if you look in the internet, it shows us two pieces. So the middle part is rubber, then there's a metal part on the outside. And I didn't try too hard to get them apart. I didn't want to run them. Okay, spring, as we said before. The tight end goes up. There's a rubber collar thing in there. I couldn't get it out, so there it is. And then the boot. All right, so we'll put it together now. The fork oil that's used is automatic transmission fluid. And since I cleaned these parts up, they are all bone dry. And so I think I'll put a little bit on them, before we put the fluid in, just to keep the wear and tear down. Okay, now we get to put the seal on, and there is a tool that you can buy for these seals, but I don't have one. So what one person recommended that he did was he used a small drift, put it on very carefully, and pounded it in very smoothly. Okay, we got it this far. Now we have to. That's going far enough to get the circlip in. And what I'm going to use is this drift here. It just fits in there, and I'll go around real carefully and pound it in. Okay, the seal and the circlip are on, and you want to make sure the circlip is in that groove. Clean it up real good. And you'll hear it snap as it goes in, and it may look like the back is not in all the way, but it is, because it's thicker than the front. Alright. Then we put these two pieces together. We put this bottom on the spring, and the spring is inside the fork here. Inside the boot. Now I'll put this back in here temporarily just so I don't lose it. Okay, and that takes care of the assembly of that fork. I went ahead and changed the seal on the other tube off camera. And when I did, I stumbled across a trick to get that snap ring off a lot easier. And what I did, when you squeeze a snap ring with the snap ring pliers, and if you start to pull up on it, a lot of times it wants to slip off the pliers. So what I did instead, I pushed down on it, down into the seal a little bit, and the other end of the snap ring popped up a little bit, so that I could just pull the whole thing off. And it came off real easy. We're done with the forks right now. It's kind of tempting to fill them right now, while they're off, but they won't hold all the oil, in the clap state that they are. You have to have open a little bit, and then when you go to install the forks, they'll probably spill. So we'll do that later on. All that's left now would be to install the forks in the wheel, and I'll do that in the next video.